welcome back to the Messed Up Movies Podcast, the podcast celebrating movies and filmmakers that embrace the insane, the outrageous, the unhinged, the off-kilter, and the kind of messed up, drug-fueled fun Sam can't take his eyes off of. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Griffey, joined as always for New Movie Monday by my friend Sam. Welcome to the show. And Heath. We're here to talk about Jimmy and Stiggs, the first movie from the horror section. This is a new Joe Begos movie. Before that, a quick bit of business. Please go to YouTube and subscribe to Misfit Parade. There you can see video versions of the pod. You can see other cool stuff we're working on over there. We've got some fun things coming. So go subscribe there. Also, make sure you go to the Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon page. The best way to support, help us grow the show. We got a ton of cool stuff coming in October. We have Patreon exclusive libraries. We just started Alien Earth. That was very exciting. So lots of fun stuff going. So the horror section has released their first movie. Eli Roth presents Jimmy and Stiggs. Stiggs. Stig is the name of the doctor in the Kingdom Lars von Trier show who looks at his own poops. It's Stiggs. That's what we're going to go with. So this was written and directed by Joe Begos. This was kind of a labor of love, right? An Evil Dead style guy trapped in an apartment with monsters. So I thought we'd just kick it off. Sam, what did you think of your first experience in the horror section?
Oh, you got to start with me, huh? So I went into this week saying that I was going to be more positive about movies after last week's thing. And I just couldn't do it, man.
He is who he is.
Okay, so I'm just going to preface. I'm going to say I didn't hate the movie because I feel like hate is too strong of an emotion to spend on this movie.
Wow.
I hope Joe Begos is listening and just pounding a bottle of whiskey.
I do have positive things to say about it.
He's going to beat you up.
I have positive things to say.
Is it just cold indifference, Sam? Is that what you're going for?
No, it's just like I feel like it's too harsh to judge it. Even though like I had to pay the same amount of money to see this movie as I did to see every other movie. But I don't think I should like compare it to every other movie because obviously it's not. Like the fact that this got to Regal blew my mind.
Yeah.
This might be my favorite of your worst
so,
takes
okay,
yet.
How about I can explain this in a
What
better...
if you had paid $3 to see this movie?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. If this was a $3 movie, or better yet, if I had gone to Halloween horror... Or what do we go to every year? Days of the Dead?
Yeah.
If this played at Days of the Dead, I would have been like, hell yeah, dude.
Okay, so this was a festival film. It played at Sitges, which is the big international horror festival, and then it was also at Beyond Fest. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what got it.
That's what got it.
Got it going. I mean, Begos is a well-known filmmaker.
Yes.
I mean, he has a pretty good track record.
I absolutely love Joe Begos' movies. So Bliss, VFW, Christmas Bloody Christmas. I think they're just really fun. He's kind of got this Rob Zombie tonality that's starting to come out more and more.
Well, and he looks a lot like Rob Zombie.
He looks like
a
Rob
real
Zombie.
Rob Zombie aesthetic to this, but I think it's in the dialogue, right? The nonstop kind of like drunken profanity and this and that. This movie, to me, to your point, I do think it's a really well-crafted and fun movie, right? And it's one of those movies that does a lot with
was
less.
that Sam's point?
Well, no. But what I'm saying is, I get Sam's point that, like, why would I pay the same for this as, like, 28 years later?
Or, like, The Avengers or whatever.
I just think that's crazy. Like, when you go see an Avengers movie, I don't feel bad when I pay the same price to see Anora, right?
Actually,
like,
I was thinking about this the other day. Movies are one of the rare things where there is no, like, generic brand. Like, you know, you go to Walmart and I don't want to buy Doritos, but I'll buy these, like, $2 Dorito knockoffs. Whereas if you go to see a movie, you got to pay the same price no matter what.
That's entirely true. There are drive-in movies. There are like limited Fathom
There's
events.
Straight to streaming movies.
Yeah, I mean there is a hierarchy to films.
Well,
okay, let's pause this before we get completely
nothing's set in
derailed.
stone.
2 minutes into the show, right? So here's the synopsis of the film that Sam thinks should have cost less. A shitstorm of bad news sends out-of-work filmmaker Jimmy Lang spiraling into an out-of-control bender, during which he claims to have been abducted by aliens. Fearing they'll come back, he contacts his old friend Stiggs to help him gear up for war. When the sun sets, the duo are thrown into a hallucinatory explosion of alien drugs, booze, and all-out carnage. So essentially...
It's a good way to put it. That's a
very succinct,
almost
too-wordy version of what this is. This, to me... To Sam's point, I see what he's saying, right? It is a smaller movie. It's condensed. I do wonder about the idea for Begos to be the actor, right? And if that, like, was a lot of work and this and that, and could we have had stronger performances, this and that. This, to me, is not the most cinematic movie. This is like getting in a Drunken Bar Brawl.
Oh, yeah.
This movie is one of those movies you have to sit and survive. This movie is nonstop just accosting the audience.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really kind of novel experience that we haven't had in a while, right?
It doesn't ever give you a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
It never lets the air out. It's constantly ramping.
It's just Jimmy breathing the
What
whole
is
time.
it ramping to? It does get repetitive. I mean, I think exhausting is the word that I would use. It's really, what I came away with is it's 3 scenes. The whole movie is 3 scenes. We open with this really fun POV.
I thought the opening was great, yeah.
Love the opening. Jimmy is on his balcony. Jimmy played by Joe Begos. But we're only in his POV. And he starts smoking a blunt on the balcony. And he's about to have a party. He's invited a girl over. He's waiting for good news from his agent. He doesn't get it. He freaks out. And then, lo and behold, aliens show up. And
he's watching a porno. He's trying to settle in for a night.
He blacks out. He wakes up. And we are out of his POV and in a third-person point of view. And then it's a more traditional movie. I was a little scared that we were only going to be in his POV the entire film. Which
that is interesting. I wondered that too.
Yeah, me too.
What I will say, the POV is the most effective things in the movie.
Oh, I agree.
Well, the
I loved
bookends,
it.
the
And
beginning and the
we
end.
go back to it at the end. We go back to Jimmy's.
Yeah.
So you more or less have 2
Spoilers, by the way. All the spoilers.
on the bookends. How long would you say those scenes are? 10, 15 minutes?
Probably like 10 minutes apiece, yeah.
The first one feels pretty quick, right? I'd say under 10, and the last one feels like 15.
Yeah, maybe a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
but more even than the middle. The middle is its own scene. Like, it's really 3 scenes, in the third or the second scene in the middle, where Stiggs comes into the picture and we do most of the movie, is I guess an objective POV, but where we see both characters in frame together.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very much like a Peter Jackson. I don't even know how
Bad
you-
taste, yeah.
Yeah, but it is assaulting you constantly.
Yeah,
The
because
camera's
Peter Jackson's early work did this. It's getting a lot of comps to Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead, yeah.
Right, just kind of stuck in the house like a one-man show of just carnage and madness.
Right.
I will say, to your point, this is an 80-minute movie, right? I don't know if that includes credits and the 2 fake trailers at the start. There is an element of this movie that does kind of wear you out. And you're like, all right, what do you got next? In the sections of Stig gets stuck in the house, right? That feels like the last new thing we get for pretty much the movie, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just these aliens floating at him, fighting. And I think the biggest issue I took with the movie, right? And I'm not a man who is like worried about cursing. I am a prolific cursor myself. There is a point in the movie when it's like, you motherfucker, you scumbag, you piece of shit, you
See,
fucking,
that's the part
fucking,
that reminded me of
fucking.
Rob Zombie.
Yeah, and you're just
because
like,
Rob Zombie loves that.
Jesus Christ. Like, it's, and it just makes the scenes, because he's always saying the same, like, 3 lines.
It's very repetitive.
And the aliens keep floating, and it's like, all right, we're doing like half a fight to get to a gag reel. The fights feel very staged similarly.
Yeah.
Where it's a float, and it gets him on the wall, and he's on the wall.
It's the same gag over and over.
And so this is what worried me, is I was like, oh, no, like... Okay, once you saw it the first time, you're like, all right, that's pretty fun. We kept doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I think the thing I love the most about the movie is that every time I was worried, I was like, ah, shit, this is where I'm going to check out and lose interest. They did find cool new mechanics and machinations that kept me pulled in.
Yeah.
The biggest fear I had is that this was going to be one of those... Because they do this thing where there's like a fake newscast of him getting interviewed by the cops, and it's like, well, you killed Stiggs. I was like, if this is a dream, like a drunken, stupor dream movie, and it ends that like that was his imagination, I was like, this is going to be a 1-star. This is going to be the worst movie ever. They didn't. They kept fucking running it. And I thought...
Or did they, though? It kind of felt like it could have been a dream.
It could have been, but I think not showing us and letting us decide that.
Yeah.
The ending for me landed big. And I was like, all right, that was a really fun and felt like a different kind. This year has been stacked with great horror movies. I feel like this would make more noise in another year. And this year we've just had so many incredible movies. It's just not going to crack a lot of lists. But I do think it's a really fun, novel approach to this movie. And this is one of the hardest kind of movies to make. Guy stuck in a one location. So you get like 3 rooms essentially. It can get very repetitive. You're fighting the same creature.
So you said that wrong. It's the easiest movie to make. It's the hardest to make well.
Well, no. I think, yes, you can set up a camera and just film your buddy like fighting something in the
But
house.
how do you keep that
It's
interesting?
hard to keep that engaged. That's like the gold chalice script that everyone wants, is a contained script, right? Like one location, 1 or 2 actors. You can do this. This one obviously is above a lot of people's level because of the massive amounts of effects, mostly all practical. In the set, and there's a lot going on in this.
A lot of Home Depot trips for this one.
This movie is all gas, no brakes. It never slows down, and it has to be 80 minutes, and it has to do that in order to probably keep your interest with 2 characters in an apartment throughout the entirety of it. It's totally coked out. It's an insane fever dream, and I think it does even overstay its welcome.
I felt like it was way too long.
Thing. If you took out, let's say, 5 minutes for credits and the 2 fake trailers, there's still a big chunk in the middle of this where you're like, I'm starting to get bored, which is an insane thing to say in this movie because they're not giving us time to get bored, but it's the repetitive. It's the, why do him and Stiggs have to fight for like 3 rooms in a row, right? Why do all the aliens feel the same? Like, it just kept doing that.
One guy.
So it did feel like 60
out,
minutes. This movie's fucking rocking my brain. I did find myself kind of pulling away at times.
One guy will pass out. The next guy will wake up. The other guy fills him in on his blackout. Then they debate about what really happened. Then they get into a fight, and then you just repeat that about 3 times.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does get a little. I found myself a little bored by that too.
So
but the sheer gonzo nature of what they were trying to pull off is extremely respectable and impressive.
Yeah, well, it reminds me, like, one of my favorite movies, right, is Houseu. And that's another one where it's like, it's really hard to find a story in there. You have to really kind of dig for it.
Yeah.
And like what happens with most movies, decades later, people, like academics have come in and like intellectually zambonied that movie and found all these hidden deeper meanings. But for me, that's not why I watch it. I love movies that are just so fucking off the wall and insane and fucking go for it in the way this movie does. And I do think so many people, we've kind of been saves the cats to death.
Yeah.
Right? Where you get a lot of these very formulaic, you got to do this. And this movie's like, you're not going to like these guys. You're not going to like being in the apartment with them. They're abrasive. They don't seem to have a lot of value to society.
Sticks seemed all right.
But we're fighting. Okay.
I did lean over to Griffey and I said, "This is you and Sam."
Yeah, this would have been us in our Venice Beach heydays.
So before we move on, before we move on to the next part, I wanted to bring up. I weirdly felt a good comparison to. Do you remember Mad Max Fury Road?
Yeah.
How it was just a constant fight the
Just a
entire
car
freaking
chase.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like over and over the same thing, but they try to keep it interesting.
See, that one had a lot more expansive mythology
Right.
because we had the different like communities.
So I
and
felt
they
like
had
it was a
different,
lot easier. It was harder to make, but easier for them to make it interesting.
Well, I remember leaving the theater too with Mad Max and being like, wow, I was kind of blown away. I saw it was like one of the first like brand new Chinese theater movies. And I remember being kind of like, I feel a little cheated. Like I thought it was a Mad Max movie and we were going to like get into the weeds more.
Yeah.
And then that's one of those movies, as I've watched it like many more times, you're just like, God, I just love that they're making these kind of movies just to drop your nuts on the table and show me some wild shit. Like, I do appreciate when filmmakers do that.
It is relentless and, again, exhausting, but it was just a tough whiplash coming off of Weapons.
Yeah.
Because this is the total opposite movie of Weapons. But to the point that you were making about Save the Cat, what is refreshing is that, you know, we have these movies back to back, and there have been other examples of it, but you don't get it too often where we don't have to do the fucking hero's journey. Every movie. I think
it might have helped this.
I've been working with some younger filmmakers on a project that they're doing, so I'm the old guy on set, and we, in between takes, we're talking about movies, and a lot of them didn't get Weapons, and I just have a feeling it's because that generation has been heroes journeyed to death. They've never seen a movie that doesn't follow the one character's arc.
And this is especially interesting because most movies that pull this off are art house movies, right? Art house movies where they're playing so much more with symbolism.
This is definitely an art house movie.
I see. To me, this isn't art house at all. This is like a good old fashioned hard hat movie to me.
Well,
this is a show up and let's get to fucking work. This is an elbow grease movie to me.
But it's an independent movie. You never get this movie out of any kind of especially not a studio. I would say probably not many production companies. You need an artist and a true genre fan like Begos to say, fuck it, I'm just going to do this myself. I'm going
And
to
he's
find
got
a way.
cachet, right? A
He
lot
has
of people
cachet.
can't pull this
He
off.
knows what he's doing. He has experience. And it is cool that a filmmaker like him, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to level up, I'm going to maybe do what Krager did. But I mean, it's a different example where Krager's working on with a much bigger palette, right? But going from Barbarian to Weapons, huge leap.
And now he's going to Resident Evil, right?
Now Resident Evil.
And
Now
so
he's
these
doing a
people,
franchise
you
filmmaker.
kind of get sucked up into the machine.
I really like that Begos is like, you know what? I'm going to see what I can do. You know, I've done VFW contained, but substantial cast. Christmas, Bloody Christmas, that expands the scope a little bit more. And he's just like, let's just do it all in an apartment with one other character and some like pretty cheap looking paper mache alien, props.
And fluorescent paint.
And just go nuts and just see what we can get out of that.
See,
and it's a great experiment.
Yes, that's what I love about that, though, because it's kind of one of these. It's watching a filmmaker who is so talented, right? Like, I love his style. I love his other movies. Again, I think the script elements, I think the same thing when people, like, went to see a Halloween movie. And they're like, oh, I fucking hate this, like, Rob Zombie flavor of the dad talking about his stepdaughter's dumper and shit like that, right? Joe Begos' movies have some of that for, like, a more normal audience.
Yeah.
But I think his fucking grasp on style and the kind of like things we love about horror movies. What I love about this movie is it feels like a real stripped down experiment, right? Of let's take out a lot of the kind of tricks and mechanics and let's just fucking fight some monsters.
Yeah.
And let's spray some blood and let's have some violence. And how long can we run that? You could argue how effectively they do it for 80 minutes. But then you see once he goes back to the POV at the end, now we're getting into like some big set piece stuff. Yeah. That really kind of, I think, brought this thing home.
Yeah.
I
just thought the monsters weren't that cool. The fighting was not cool at all.
You didn't like any
it
of
was
the
literally
fighting?
a thing floating across the room, grabbing him, and then he just hit it. And then he headbutted it, and then he hit it again.
You know what the style of this movie kind of reminded me of? And it's to a more extreme degree, but I feel like MTV would have picked up a movie like this back in the mid-90s.
Like a Joe's Apartment.
Like a Joe's Apartment sort of thing. Like big style, very, in your face.
But Joe's Apartment was super impressive. With the
it's
stop motion
it's
and all
more
that.
of a studio
Can I ask
film
a
too,
question?
but yeah.
I'll ask both of you this. Do you think if you had seen this when you were 16, that you would have fucking loved it?
It seems like a 16-year-old wrote it.
Well, I think again,
Maybe, kind of.
I would love.
I think it is geared more towards younger people.
I would love to get my hands on a script of this. My theory is that it's probably more of like an outline style, like a Curb Your Enthusiasm outline of beats.
Yeah.
And then I bet they wrote like their back and forth, like kind of backstory dialogues. But what do you think that a younger Sam, a 16-year-old Sam who has more of that like young, I want to be a filmmaker punk rock energy, would have just been fucking blown away that some guy
dude,
like
I
got
love
this
Meet
through.
the Feebles and shit like that when I was younger.
So you love
it
these
would be.
kind of
It would have
movies.
been like that a little bit, but I don't know. Yeah.
What do you think it is now as you've gotten older that just doesn't click for you?
Just the juvenile nature of it, I guess.
The juvenile nature.
Yeah.
You wanted more story.
Well, it's just like these aren't real people. These people don't exist.
I don't know
By
about
the way,
that. I thought they felt very real.
First off, we lived in LA, and me and you were like these guys at a time. We were going on benders and doing wild shit. Not this fucking wild, but
I don't know.
we used to behave like this. We were
Yeah,
once
it
young.
seemed more like an anti-drug PSA than a movie.
Okay,
these are-
until he makes his friend get off the fucking wagon and drink alcohol, and I was like, wait, is this movie saying it's good to be a fucking alcoholic?
No, clearly not. It ends in his demise,
It does.
But they were gonna die
alcohol
either
kills
way.
The aliens.
But I've known guys like this. I thought it was pretty believable. They're
absolutely.
hard-headed morons that all they can do is yell at each other. How many people like that do you know, especially when they're on drugs or drinking or, in an amped up atmosphere? This is, a great way to showcase that kind of subculture in this wild, paranoid, drug-fueled genre framework.
Yeah, I mean, Fried Berry came out a couple years ago. Kruger's been on the pod, and we talked to him about that. Sometimes it's fun to just fucking go for it and not let all the other things get in the way. I think now we're very conditioned to want this, like, kind of tie the bow. We need to go through the steps of the narrative, and that there are characters we have to like. I do kind of miss movies that are just about unlikable people. Because sometimes unlikable people are fascinating, right?
I mean, in a little bit, in some way, you have like what the Safdie brothers do, Scorsese. This is just takes that and blows it up and focuses exclusively on, one crazy night that is it real? Is it not real? It doesn't matter. It is psychedelic and paranoid and just wild and extreme. And that's the whole point of the movie is, can these guys get out of their own way and sober up to figure it out? They just keep doubling down.
Yeah. Well, there is something. It's like, I do wish that their relationship had been worked through better in the story.
Oh, really?
Because I feel like, I get it, Stiggs has this guy, right? And he's like dragged him down. He's obviously like an abusive piece of shit person, right? Begos' character. Joe, whatever his fucking name is. Jimmy. I get it. Those two, man, the scenes where they're like trying to like get us there, talking about middle school, talking about, I should have dumped your ass, blah, blah. It just didn't get there for me.
It felt a little expository. Like they would have probably talked about this before.
Yeah, and it felt like, and I get it, it's like this heightened, like they're fighting in the midst of carnage and battling aliens.
Well, and they're drunk off their ass.
They're drunk off their ass. But that's the thing, they didn't really play, like, for the amount of fucking shit they were imbibing, they didn't play it as if they were actually...
Well, they're also doing coke.
Impaired. I can tell you from experience, that doesn't fix it. That makes it worse. If you've ever hung out with a cokehead, it's nonstop machine gun babble.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if you add drunkenness in there, like, no one wants to talk to
I mean,
a
that
person
part
like
kind of
this.
made sense because it seemed like they were on coke.
They were on coke.
It
They
did
were
seem
doing
like they're on
lines.
coke. What I'm saying is that I don't know that the pair of them, and I think this gets to my earlier point about Begos acting and directing. I think he was credited as doing the set design.
Yeah, he was production
He had a
designer.
lot of fucking hats on this.
Sure.
And I wonder if, had he not had to do so much of on his own, if there could have been a little more time put into those acting moments. Because there were moments I thought Begos was really good in the movie.
It would have
But
been...
I think him and Mercer, like, they never clicked for me. And so it's kind of like, a Jay and Silent Bob setup, right? Like these kind of like drugged out fools. But when I watch Jay and Silent Bob, they feel like a unit. They feel like friends and this and that. This never... And they definitely have scenes, sorry, where they're trying to get there.
Yeah.
It just never does. And
They turn on each other, and it makes
Yeah.
you kind of hate them a little bit more.
It's like a little...
Yeah.
They're trying to add the kind of the human soul stuff underneath all of the fucking fluorescent blood. And just for me, that performances didn't get where they needed to get for me. Right? And again, both of them great in different moments. It just felt like when those scenes are happening, it felt like they were so worried about the carnage and the blood and guts. Those couple moments of Jimmy and Stig talking about what happened to their relationship would have been a very welcome life raft amongst the fucking blood-soaked...
It did seem
melee.
real in the sense that they were both drunk and coked off their ass, that they would be talking like that, though.
I mean, you do have a whole section where the alien attacks subside. And Jimmy wakes up and Stiggs is explaining, what happened during the blackout.
And that's
how,
probably Mercer's best scene when he's like walking around and the camera's
yeah,
following.
oh, it's great. And he's telling Jimmy how he took out the aliens, this and that. We never have that, I think what you're saying, that moment where this is the chance for them to kind of get on the same page, if not briefly. And Jimmy just goes into paranoia and doesn't believe what his friend's telling him.
I mean, that part...
But dude, that's established at the very beginning. He's just a super aggressive person.
He's aggressive. He's self-involved. He can't see anything from anybody else's point of view. He's always the victim.
Yeah.
So
you guys
is
found
hard to relate
you
to.
guys found it in their relationship.
Yeah.
In the movie, that did work for you.
I mean, it felt real in the sense that they were both really
Well,
fucked
like
up.
for
But it
me, it's
just
like
made-
when he finds Stiggs like dead. That doesn't seem to like bother him.
I got to tell you, I hated the Jimmy character. Just absolute piece of shit.
And that's fine. I think it's
Asshole.
great.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we watch Righteous Gemstones.
He's
None of
supposed
them
to
are
be,
good
yeah.
people, right?
But
I
he's
think
not even charming. Like, there's no
he's
charm
not charming. I agree with
whatsoever.
that. Yeah, he's a real, like...
But
we've
he
all
is
known
slightly
these guys in the
handsome.
government. Yes, he is. I
So
agree.
I was going to say my positives about Jeff Begos.
Joe Begos?
Joe Begos.
The Timu Jeff Bezos.
I was like, A, he's a little Rob Zombie, which is kind of cool. He's slightly attractive and he has great shoulders. And I liked his pants.
By the way, yeah, surprisingly good tone on the arms.
Dude, I was like, that guy is fucking kind of... And to keep it up for 4 years, he looked exactly the
4
same.
years in the making of the film, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To keep it up for 4 years and have that exact same physique is pretty impressive.
That look, I really honestly hate to level any criticism against the film for that reason, because you got to respect the hell out of the commitment.
You have to
A
respect
4-year
it.
shoot.
But
I mean,
that's my biggest plus for the movie, is that I just wish more directors would like wander off in the woods and make a passion project.
Soderbergh does it all the time.
This is a real like, and that's your guy Soderbergh, right?
Yeah.
Begos, you can tell this is like a real like, he wanted this thing to come into existence. It was not easy. It was not the cheap and easy road. He loved this fucking movie. And again, I think the biggest sin of a movie is when you're watching it and it's like clearly a paycheck movie. Everyone's just there doing their jobs. He clearly loved this fucking project and really fucking fathered it into existence. I can't say a bad word about that,
well,
right?
Here's the other thing
Nah,
about it.
you
How
can't.
much did this movie cost? Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
$13.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was
That's how much I paid.
$250,000, right?
Well, that ending piece, that could have got expensive.
it could have, but
And if he had to keep because we were talking, he had to keep this apartment for 4 years. They're probably not redressing it every single time. That would have been a continuity nightmare. So I'm assuming, if you told me this thing was $500,000, I wouldn't be shocked. That
Still-
ending was pretty big.
still $500,000 for this. This is a no-brainer for Eli Roth. All he has to do
Absolutely.
is put his name on it. Begos has a pedigree. He's going to bring in. This movie would have ended up on Shudder probably.
Yeah.
So for Eli Roth to take this, roll it into all the press of the horror section's coming out party, and put it in theaters. I mean, it's just, it doesn't have to really do much business at all to be a big hit.
Yeah.
And it's because it's so threadbare. I mean, you have enough for people to talk about it, with just the wild insanity, energy of it,
Yes.
the visuals, and it costs probably nothing. You have a very minimal set, you have a lot of fluorescent paint, and you have a little bit of kind of like cheap practical effects. I mean, Begos is probably putting his own money into this. I assume he paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, all Eli Roth has to do is say, okay, I'll acquire this for $1 million or whatever, and you're going to make at least that back on the theatrical release, and if not, you have everything after. Everyone.
Yeah, I do think we talked a lot about this when we were conceiving Misfit, right? Like, what do we want people to think a Misfit movie is, right? And I remember one of the earliest things that I wrote on my list that you really picked up on is we want these to be movies you can't wait to inflict on others.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you watch it and you're immediately like, I have to go make someone else watch this. I think for the people who see this movie, I think this will be one like, oh shit, you guys didn't see Jimmy and Stiggs? Like, let's watch that. Because it's also, if you're hanging out with the group, you could be drinking beers, smoking a joint. You don't have to pay a close attention to
You don't
it.
have to pay any attention.
But then every time you look up, you'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I think it's going to have a really popular, like, party movie.
Yeah, it reaches out,
The
grabs you by
colors
the
and the
shirt.
visuals.
Yeah,
Like, I have a big Halloween party every year, and we have movies playing in the background.
This would be a good back. Okay,
perfect.
I will agree with you guys on that. This would be a great background movie because
Yeah,
it looks
it would
cool.
be.
It looks great.
I'm not a huge fan of 16 millimeter. I just don't like the graininess. Like, and you saw that a lot in the blacks,
yeah.
and it just to me it looks bad. But certain people love that look.
I thought it looked great.
Yeah, so certain
for what
people
it is.
love.
Honestly, that might have been the biggest expense of the whole movie, is the fact they shot the whole thing
film,
on 16
yeah.
millimeter.
There's a thing with some directors. I don't know if you've gone through this Night of Soul, Heath, but like they're like, it has to be on film, and
Yeah.
it's like, guys, I get it, but like,
I think
just,
if you say that though, it's got to be on 35 millimeter film if you're going to do that.
well, it's
'Cause-
also like, is this the movie that doesn't need to be digital? Like,
No.
there are directors who get really. I have a very close friend who's a director who gets very hung up on stuff like this, and I was like, I think that's the least important
But
thing in the movie.
it
right
does
now.
give you that Rob Zombie aesthetic, and like the look of the paints and the colors all look different because the range of the film is much higher than digital. So like he can manipulate the colors a lot better, which I think is why they decided to do it for all that paint.
Thanks, nerd. No, that's cool.
Yeah,
But you like that?
I did like that. I like the
like
visual.
that?
I like the look. Just the script and the plot was. I
There
mean,
is
the plot.
no plot.
The plot wasn't even the problem. Like if this was like I liked Eight-Legged Free. Like I like movies like this where it's just kind of stupid battling monsters, but the monsters weren't that good.
Yeah.
No, I do think the monsters, they wore their fucking welcome out super quick. But then that's why I thought the ending was cool, because we started to see new versions of it. There's whatever's in the spacesuit. Mm-hmm. We added like a spaceship, right? So there's like some cool things they started adding throughout. It kind of reminded me, like, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. And when you go back and watch real old Doctor Who, Like, there are just certain episodes you're like, oh, God, that monster. Like, Jesus Christ. But you're like, but I get to run around with the doctor. It's fine. This movie, to me, had some of that where I was like, the monsters aren't super cool, but I am accepting the reality of this is the movie they wanted to make. And the aliens are not the focal point. The carnage is the focal point, right? And so the aliens get us through. Aliens give you something to put in the trailer. And then we get to the, like, I'm going to cut my cheek open. I'm going to fucking rip my tooth out. I'm going to saw my own
It had a
leg
very
off.
American ending in the sense that, like, we're never going to give up, even to the sense that we'll destroy ourselves to stop you from gaining anything. I felt like the ending was a cool ending.
No, I remember everyone kind of shit on Edgar Wright's The World's End when that came out. And I was like, I just kind of like that movie. It's just about a shitty dude who just wants to drink beers. And at the end, they're like, we're fucking humans. This is all we do is fuck up. And the alien's like, fuck it, I quit. And it just ends the world in an apocalypse. I was like, that to me was a fucking fun ride, dude. I do want to get back to this horror section thing, because I think this is the perfect kind of mission statement movie. Yeah. So to your point, I think this is an absolute no-brainer for Eli Roth. I think I read somewhere he's like, I couldn't believe how wet the movie was, right? He was like infatuated with it. And again, I think this is the perfect, like, coming through the gates movie for them. When you go to see a horror section movie now, they're telling us they want us to find shit like this. Things that remind you of going back and finding those wild 80s VHSs, right? They were just practical effects wizards and, like, kind of not great stories, whatever. But you'd find this movie and it'd become a treasure to you. They are putting a stamp on their company of you can expect absolute fucking madness when you come to see a horror section movie.
This movie likely does not go to theaters if it's not for Eli Roth.
No, and to be fair, our Regal put it in the biggest fucking theater. I mean, this is huge. Like a 600 seat theater. Insane. We were the only three fucking guys in there, and I was like, "Ooh, this is not a great sign." Like, normally they put us in the small, like 50 seat theaters. This was in the biggest fucking theater, and I remember at one point you're like, "Are we the only ones in here?" And we're looking around, and we're like, "Uh-oh, this isn't good." So I don't know if that's a sign or not. I will say the weirdest thing about the horror section of this, the worst part of the movie. The fake trailers. Yeah. Fake trailers were fucking
It felt really stale because they're doing the whole grindhouse thing. In fact, the Bitch Don't Go in the House trailer was a ripoff of the Edgar Wright fake trailer. Yeah. Which was way better because it was
Don't Go in the Basement or whatever.
Yeah, just
well, actually had like
just style.
Yeah. But it was a send up of those like Hammer horror.
Yeah, and then it had like
English
a Snoop Dogg sing along. Bitch, don't go in that house. Yeah. Bitch, don't.
That was weird, man.
But I was just like, in the Piano Killer, I was like, is this supposed to be funny? Like I was kind of watching and I was like,
it's supposed to be funny.
Okay, he's dropping pianos. I was like, it was kind of funny. But also, I will say, horror section. I don't know if you've been to a theater recently outside of LA. The last thing you want to see after watching 25 minutes of trailers and ads
is more trailers.
Is too fucking not great.
Yeah. I think I remember Heath saying, "God damn, another trailer."
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's like we just watched 25 minutes of trailers and ads. If you're gonna put 2 fake trailers in there, they better fucking slap.
Absolutely.
And these did not slap. I thought this was the lamest.
It was a way to get Eli Roth's face in it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's paying for it. He can do what he wants. But I was like, oof. I thought. Because the Piano Killer, you're like, all right, that's something. Bitch Don't Go in that house was so bad. It was so fucking lame.
If I came in, sat down with my popcorn, saw like one pre-roll for, advertising the theater chain itself, then we get into that stuff. Okay, great. Yeah, you're warming me up.
Welcome to Regal. Here's Hell House. Here's the new Conjuring. Boom, the movie starts. I can do that. Right. 25 minutes of trailers and then 2 more lame trailers.
And we had horror section movie trailers prior to that as well.
We did, yeah.
So I think you might have said it, or maybe I did. It was like, okay, we already saw the horror section trailers. We're doing these again, and then lo and behold, they're the fake ones.
They're gags, yeah.
And they're like, it's like, I'd really just like to get to the movie. Can we do that?
Yeah, and again, in Grindhouse, they're serving that like they're between the 2 movies.
Yeah.
This is just fluff. And again, I get it. When people watch this on streaming, they won't have that.
Well, it's not even like Tropic Thunder either, where it has something to do with the story you're about.
Yeah. They're introducing us to the characters we're going to follow. Yeah, I was like, man, I feel like short horror is so good. Like when we go to festivals, the short horror is so competitive now, and they're so fucking brilliant.
So, dude, I thought if this movie would have been 20 minutes long and you had all the gags of the bricks,
it could have easily been
the waking up and everything, it would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: Joe Begos is a legitimate, established filmmaker.
I mean, he's at Regal.
Yeah, he pumps it out and he just makes it an 80-minute movie.
Yeah.
Probably really we got like 72 minutes a movie, 75, whatever. You can monetize that.
Yeah.
Monetizing
No, I
shorts
totally
in this
get it, but like purely for the art, I think it should have been like 20, 25 minutes.
I
Right,
agree.
and again, but I think what I would argue is that maybe the three of us aren't the core audience for this. Maybe me a little bit more than you guys. I don't know.
I think it's a younger person's
We
movie.
probably should have come with a little bit more candy.
We should have got our gummies out. Yeah, dude.
Or if we were all on I was thinking that halfway through the movie. I was like, if I was on coke, I would probably be jazzed up. I'd be like, oh yeah.
The problem is, I don't know if you remember when we did coke. The last thing you want to do is sit still and watch a fucking movie.
But that movie,
stuff.
specifically, the chaos and everything, I feel like you might be into it if you're fucked up.
And then you just be like, dude, aliens, bro. Aliens, I saw one in Venice Beach.
Right.
Yeah. It's possible. But what I think there are people who are going to... Like Sophia, who's on the pod. She fucking loved it. She said
should we call her and
she
see
said
why
it
she
was
liked
Weapons and Sinners. I think she's at work, so we're not going to bother. But this is her third favorite movie of the year. And I'm guessing for a big chunk of the horror audience, they're going to see this and be like, fucking finally. Finally. This is a movie I've been waiting on for a long time. I don't have to do all the trauma metaphors and all the other things that horror does now. I don't want a life lesson. I just want to watch fucking people get fucked up. And that's what this movie's giving you in bucket load. So I'm guessing if you like this kind of thing, you haven't probably gotten one like this in a long time.
Just go watch Saving Private Ryan. If you want to see people get fucked up.
Watch a different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has like serious underpinnings. We don't want that. We just want to fuck up little
Oh,
aliens.
you don't want the underpinnings, okay.
Is this a horror movie though?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Or sci-fi, kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a horror movie. This would be fucking horrifying if it happened to you. So this thing,
It's a trip movie more than anything.
this is a debate I have a lot with people, right? Is I think one of the worst metrics of if something's a horror movie is if it's scary. Because this movie's not scary in any way, shape, or form.
That's
right?
true.
It's fun.
The idea is scary.
What it is it's a guy living his life and a fucking wild, unnamed force begins to attack him and blows up his life as it exists. Right? And then, blood and guts, carnage, haunting, whatever.
And the ending is bleak, which most good horror movies have bleak endings.
But he
It's
takes
absolutely a horror
takes
movie.
back the power at the end, so it's not as bleak as it could be.
He doesn't take back the power. The movie ends when he saws his fucking
kills
face in half and
himself.
it goes... "Arr."
But the fact is he kills himself, which I think takes it from being as bleak as it could have been.
Yeah, well, but
He's
you're
not a
not
sheep.
You're not typically getting that in a rom-com. Yeah.
I mean, that would be badass.
I mean, that is those endings are
And
typically.
McConaughey's like, "She
Romeo
doesn't
and
love
Juliet,
me."
dude.
Well, that's true. That is true.
That's the first rom-com.
Yeah, no, I think horror audiences are going to slurp this up.
Yeah.
I could see, it's not, this is going to be sacrilege to say, but I think it'll have a Terrifier kind of thing. It will not be like Terrifier. Terrifier, you go to cons, it's so outweighted in its fandom and the iconography, this and that. You'll start seeing Jimmys pop up at cons with little aliens floating behind them. And I think there are going to be people that are really committed to defending this movie and making it a real big part of like, I like this movie. If you like this movie, you're with me. If you're
agree.
not, you're soft. I think
agree.
it's going to have a real hardcore
So
fan
that
base.
was one of the notes I made when I put down there that I don't think anyone actually likes this movie. I think this is one of those movies that you're supposed to like if you're a filmmaker.
Really?
But I'm saying
What do you
don't
mean by
have
that?
to like it, dude.
I find that so bizarre. Why? Make the case.
Because of everything you said about how it's a low budget movie that this dude somehow got into theaters and it's got all of these aesthetics and
You think it's low budget wish fulfillment?
yes. And everyone's supposed to love it because of what it did, and no one's actually judging the art.
See, I think at the art, what it does is it's going to a theater to get fucking pummeled, get a sensory exploding experience. Now, again, I don't think it's going to work for everyone. I don't think it works perfectly. But I think one of the biggest problems we have now is we don't get a variety of movies anymore. You should have a variety of movies. If this is the kind of thing you want, like a sensory overload ride, why does that not exist? Every movie doesn't have to feel the same, right? Like there are all these movies of all kinds of genres. You could put them in the exact same box though. They're all the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Right? I love that movies are coming through that are kind of
It just sucks that
expanding
that this can only exist at this level. Like we can't ever get a huge Hollywood release of the same version of the movie where it's actually like
Right.
badass monsters and stuff.
But that's what makes this special is that it's not for a broad audience. Like the example I've been using all summer is F1. F1 is a movie that is like just cliche after cliche after cliche. You've seen it how many times over and over again. it's one of the most successful movies of the summer. And I'm not saying that that it's bad because it has cliches. It works for what it is. But because it is such a huge scope of a film and it costs $500 million or whatever to make, it has to do these things to bring everybody in.
That's what I'm bummed about,
to appease
man.
a larger audience.
Right. You can't make choices that'll scare away aunts and uncles.
No one wants to waste $500 million on a chance that people like this, but I think people would love it. To your point, people would love this.
No. I mean, why? I mean, it's already in theaters. It's getting a wide release.
Well, to be fair, too, the Joe Begos character is so fucking off-putting. And there are people I know that just don't like bad language in movies, right? Like, we live in the Midwest. We live in, like, very conservative places.
So you're saying this would never be as successful?
Yo, you could not have Joe Begos and Matt Mercer in this movie if it were bigger. And again, I think what will make it a real fan favorite is the bespoke nature.
Yes.
Of here are just these guys, and they're making monsters, and they're doing cool practical effects that remind us of the heyday of the 80s.
It's like the Etsy of filmmaking.
Yeah, and there is a quality. I mean, the movie we're making right now, we're banking on people will just be, like, happy that we tried. Mm-hmm. Like, our effects aren't going to be fucking top-notch, but people like to see that handcrafted element of these.
Yeah.
And I think Begos being in it, like, there will be part of people who are like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, he really... Like, this meant something to him. And so I think that bespoke quality, that kind of handmade, you can see the seams, you can see where the cracks are. I think that's actually a huge advantage for movies sometimes.
Right. Depending on what kind of movie you are. Like, this is a volatile, plotless, outrageous movie that's going to turn off the majority of moviegoers. Mm-hmm. But because it doesn't appeal to them, it will definitely appeal to the counter audience.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be like that cinematic fix that some fucking horror junkie's gonna get and be like, oh, right. Like I've been waiting. Like, so I think it's actually, I love the idea of making movies that are gonna have such a fucking hardcore fan base, and you're not worried about losing people that probably wouldn't like your movie anyways. You know what I mean? Like, my mom was like, you didn't tell me you were going to the movies. I was like, Mom, there's no chance on earth you would have appreciated this movie. I remember me and my friend Jamin, we wrote a movie in high school called Gutter Ball. Yeah. And it was just our clerks at a bowling alley because we went cosmic bowling. So we were just doing a blatant Kevin Smith
This is a cosmic bowling movie.
It's a cosmic bowling movie, right? And so we were writing our version of guys just like smoking and talking. And my mom was just like, there were 4 F words on one page. And I was like, Mom, you can't go see Jimmy and Stiggs with us. Like,
it's like 4 in one sentence and Jimmy and Stiggs.
That's like 80 per... I would like to see, does this like pass the like all-time...
What is the all-time? Wolf of Wall Street? Is that the all-time?
Yeah. And that movie's long. So I think per minute though, I think this might take the cake. It's like that and Scumbag. He says Scumbag like 55 times in the movie. But yeah, I was like, you know, there's a lot of audience that this guy, the drug use, the heavy metal music, like nothing in this movie is subtle. This is like laying on a bed of nails.
Yes.
And some people do that and they're like, oh, it's good for your back. And Indian guys used to do it, whatever. And other people are going to like, are you fucking nuts? I'm not doing that. And that's okay.
It's a stressful fever dream, paranoid trip that would stress a lot of people out.
Yeah.
It's sensory overload.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. Like, I'm probably not going to sit down and watch this movie as like a engaged viewer again.
Are you going to tell anybody to watch it?
Yeah. I mean, I would recommend it, but I do think it will live on the back in the background at parties and stuff.
Well, to answer your point, of course I will tell people to watch this because I think we've got to champion movies that are different, that are trying something, right? Like, I'm not going to tell someone, hey, this will be your favorite movie of the year. But yeah, fuck it. I think people should watch cinema that puts them outside of their comfort zone. And I think this is that. And again, I don't fault the movie for having things in it that don't work for me.
Right.
They were really true and committed to what they thought this movie was. Like, this, for how it misses in certain areas, this is a vision that is all the way seen through, right? Like, it's not like a quick money grab or this and that.
I don't think they compromised on anything.
Yeah, this is exactly the movie they wanted to make. And I think that's cool, man. I'm into that.
But I think you only really get that on the low budget, like you were saying. It would be hard to get this.
You can't. That's not going to appeal to a mass audience whatsoever.
Well, this is what I'm always saying. Like, studios shouldn't make $250 million movies all the time. They should make
a bunch of
like
these.
A $50 million movie and then like 201 millions, right? And I think that'd be good for cinema at large. That's not the world we live in. So when something like this comes in, just the novel experience of it, which feels like, dude, when we were young, you would go to the store and you would find all kinds of wild ass movies, right? They just had like some fucking wild monster and some effects, and you'd be like, cool, that's all I wanted. That's the fix, right? And we don't get a lot of these anymore.
I was listening to the Blank Check podcast, and they go through filmmakers' filmographies, and they're doing the Coens. And so the episode I was listening to was Raising Arizona, which this has some overlap with, right? Like the flying camera and the heightened nature of it. But Raising Arizona was a $6 million budget.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? One of the most like influential, totemic movies when we're looking back at it now, for that kind of movie, made for a fraction of what like you couldn't even get a $6 million movie in cinemas now unless you have outfits like the horror section.
Unless it's a horror movie.
Yeah, unless it's a horror movie.
Like $5 million and under horror movies, $1 to $5 million horror movies are dominating the box office. They're kind of the only big non-IP stuff that works anymore.
We're going to find out with Caught Stealing. I'm anxious for that.
Yeah.
To see how that does. I'm guessing that's a $10 million movie. You do have a good pedigree. You have a star in Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz, and not that Aronofsky is like a marquee name anymore.
Yeah.
But it has an energy. It has like a propulsiveness. Again, kind of like this film does. I'm eager to see if there is an audience for that, and if we can do these kinds of movies and get back into that 90s mold where we are getting more than just like, again, the same hero's journey over and over.
Yeah, and again, I'm not convinced that Caught Stealing isn't going to be that same journey. Like, I've seen that trailer 200 fucking times now. It's on every single movie we go to.
Well, but to your point, I mean, even just like a crime film.
Yeah.
Just having a crime film. Like,
just something that's
dominate.
not a fucking superhero or a giant animated kids movie. All these things, right? Cinemas have been fucking boxed out of what? And so, again, this movie getting the big-ass theater on a weekend where, fucking Bad Guys 2 is out, Fantastic Four still out, Superman's still out.
Was there another wide release?
I don't know if there was anything big. Nothing I was interested in, because I kind of look every day, like, I have fucking free movies. I'm like, what's out? Dude, the amount of times I'm just like, I don't want to see any of this shit.
I imagine Weapons is going to eat this weekend.
Yeah.
With word of mouth.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing in its way. I hope it does. But I also hope people that saw that and were looking for something else will check out Jimmy and Stiggs if it's at their theater.
I'm hoping it gets to at least like 750,000.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I want it to be a hit. You have to champion
movies like this. If that's what it makes, it's probably made all of its money back.
Yeah.
In one weekend.
Yeah.
Why not do this? I think it's a great idea. And this is what Blumhouse made. Was the whole foundation of Blumhouse was this model.
Yeah, Shudder's doing this now. Shudder's putting movies in theaters constantly.
Shudder's had huge success.
Yes. And so we want these movies to do well. So now that we're coming to the end, we got to do it. And this will be there's a lot of contenders. Heath, what's the most messed up moment in Jimmy and Stiggs?
I know this moment didn't work for you, but for me, it sort of disturbed me. And that was when he does see the deposition videotape.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Where they're interviewing him about why he killed his friend. And that scared me. I was kind of like, okay, I was reading this whole thing as just a wild, outrageous trip. Is there a world where there is a sober moment where this was just a drug infused hallucination and he killed his friend?
Yeah.
That was fucked up.
I think that was a brilliant choice because, again, you don't want it to all be a hallucination, but the idea that there could be something real and terrifying happening attached to this fucking kind of cartoon movie is like a nice undertone. Sam, what's the most messed up moment in Jimmy and Stiggs?
So at the very beginning...
And don't say when it started, you fucker.
Yeah. I couldn't pick just one. No, obviously they went over the top with the blood and all that shit. But the most messed up thing in my mind was he never called that girl back.
She did have the best pussy, she said.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, at least call her back and tell her what's going on.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, sorry I couldn't come to the door. I was getting abducted.
Like, is she literally still just outside your door?
I think if someone does, though, I think Jimmy made a smart play. If someone leaves you that many voicemails, you gotta leave. Like, you gotta run. That's
I feel
worse
like
than the aliens.
Jimmy might be hard up, dude. He needs to keep what he can get.
I don't know. He did have those good shoulders and arms, you said.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. So
He was expecting a big film deal from his
Yeah,
agent.
he was expecting a big deal, so yeah, maybe he would have had some swag again. If I had to pick a most messed up moment, Jesus, it's kind of like such a madcap, like they keep doing the same thing over and over again. I think I would have to go when Stiggs is trying to cut the thing out of his face. Because there's something about that is more visceral and grotesque to me.
And it's one of the few times you actually see human blood.
Yeah, because it's one thing to kill a bunch of these like fucking paper mache aliens, and we've seen that a bunch in the movie. When he's in so much pain, he's just like, I gotta take it out. And then that's paired with Jimmy doing the same thing, right? Him cutting into that bulge on his cheek and just trying, and he ends up dying anyways. Like, that was one of those rare moments where I was like, oh, that wasn't fun. That was like sad and
It
real.
made it more real, yeah.
Yeah, so that one, I think
these guys
that
are
would
actually
be mine.
fucked.
Yeah, because there's like a whole like aliens and spaceships and chainsaws and all that shit is fun and cartoonish. The really like, I'm gonna cut this thing out of me, that fucking works for me in every movie.
Yeah.
Something about that is so fucking horrifying.
For me, the biggest horror was being trapped.
Yeah.
There's a brick wall.
The brick wall, dude.
And they're covering the windows and the doors.
That's
and
the Matrix moment when Mouse opens it and he's like, oh, God.
the claustrophobia of that is, I mean, I have nightmares all the time just like that.
Being trapped in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's one of these movies you're like, I can smell the BO and the fucking beers and the stale
It just seems
whiskey.
so that apartment seems so small.
That's an LA apartment, brother. Yeah. Yeah, well, there was a point in the movie I was like, does he not have neighbors? What's going on?
Yeah.
He's firing a shotgun, and they're like, oh, it's like an alternate dimensional kind of thing. Yeah.
No, so what I think happened was they took the house into wherever they were going. So they were actually, because at the end he breaks out and it kind of seems like he's not in the apartment anymore. Or is
well,
that
he's in a spaceship.
He's in like a spaceship, right?
Yeah, he's in like some kind of holding.
So like
bin.
they abducted the entire apartment.
It does feel like the aliens should have bigger, stronger guards.
Well,
to like not let them out of the room.
the
But
other
they
thing
keep
that
coming
the
back to
movie
life.
is doing is playing with his perception. Like they've embedded something in his head.
Yeah.
And that's why he's having headaches and feeling like there's something that he needs to pull out of his head. And I took that as his reality is a total fabrication. And so whatever he's seeing is not where he really is. It's just sort of I don't know why the aliens would necessarily do that.
They
I
wanted
don't know
it to
that
look
it
like his
matters.
home, maybe.
But yeah, the idea is that it's an approximation of his apartment.
Yeah,
And
it
Stiggs
could be
is-
like a studying thing. We
So
don't
is
know.
Stiggs even real? Or is
Who
he
knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
See, I like to think especially this one, the thing I liked is that it didn't cop out at the end, and we're just led to believe this is real and that they're both destroyed. And to me, that's better than going back and being like, oh, it was a dream.
So I do have to say, the one thing I did like about the aliens was when they first attacked, I thought, oh, these things are super weak. Like, how could they ever... Why would they send these ones to do the job? And then they started coming back to life. I'm like, oh, they're just indestructible. So eventually they're going to get it done.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter. Like,
We will exhaust before
so it's
then,
kind
yeah.
of cool.
Those gags were pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
I thought it was really
How they just
funny.
would rise up in the
It
background
was
again.
fun.
It's like-
It was very.
It was a
slapstick.
fun movie. It was a goofball. Like, it's so funny doing this with you. I just showed Hunter Evil Dead 2, my 10-year-old, and he was like, yeah, it doesn't work for me. He's like, it's too silly. And I was like, what? I was like, it's Evil Dead 2. I was like, everyone loves Evil Dead 2. He's like, eh. He's like,
Right
lame.
on.
Well, he just saw 7.
Yeah, and it broke my heart. Yeah, 7 works.
7 ruined him, yeah.
7 still works. Yeah, he's going to be more of a realist like you, I think, Sam. But that broke my heart. I hope
good to
everyone
know.
goes and sees Jimmy and Stig. I think we need to support these kind of movies when they come through. Sam agrees. Sam agrees. So, guys, thank you for joining us. We'll be back Wednesday. We're working on some more fun Friday stuff, some interviews, and some more list with Sophia. So stay with us. Lots of fun to come. Make sure you go subscribe to Misfit Parade on YouTube. Make sure you go find Messed Up Movies Podcast on Patreon. Tons of extra fun, awesome stuff over there. The best way to help support and grow this pod. Thank you.
That's it.